There's a new term being used today. It's affecting many businesses, whether you've got one person in there or whether you have 100,000 people, and that term is e-waste or electronic waste. And if you take a look at this monitor here that I have beside me, you see but one example of what's a growing problem. You see a very large, clunky-looking monitor on a desk. Probably works okay, but certainly when offices are upgrading, you're looking for something a little bit sleeker, like some of the new LCD monitors, and then this becomes a bit of a waste. And as an aside, e-waste isn't just about computers. E-waste is about waste such as televisions and telephones and all sorts of other things, anything that has had some kind of electricity through it at one point. And this is really about the evolution of technology. We've got high-definition televisions, we've got Blu-ray, and I'm pretty sure that this old beast here doesn't play any of that. So in some cases, it's not even a matter of the television being broken, it's just a matter of the television being obsolete. And putting it at the curb and putting it into the landfill just contributes to that problem. We know for a fact that in 2007, 251 million computers were sold in North America. That's 251 million. Now, you might ask yourself, does that mean for every computer that's purchased, one gets thrown out? Well, fortunately, it's not quite that bad. The United States Environmental Protection Agency estimated that about 63 million computers were thrown out into the garbage. That's still an awful lot of e-waste. The question is, what happens to all those old computers? Stay tuned. I think you'll be surprised by the answer. Well, if you think that most old computers end up being donated to schools or nonprofit charities, you're partially right. Some computers do get refurbished and repaired, find new homes. Unfortunately, the number of computers that do get a second life is very small, certainly less than 1 in 100. So the question remains, what happens to the other 99% of the 63 million unwanted computers? Tens of millions of used computers end up here in our landfill sites. Discarded electronics represents 70% of all the heavy metal in landfill sites. By now, I think you're getting the message loud and clear. There's a real dilemma of what to do with discarded computer equipment as well as electronic equipment. It's become a real crisis. Why? Because the solution most North American companies have agreed upon is to load all these millions and millions of old computers on huge container ships and transport them off to offshore developing countries around the world. Which is not a solution at all. It just makes the e-waste someone else's problem instead of ours. What happens to these computers? The computers are torn apart to recover resaleable elements such as lead, tin, and zinc. What is left gets tossed back into the dump. Remember that a typical computer monitor contains up to 8 pounds of hazardous toxic materials such as lead and cadmium, which is extremely harmful to both humans and animals. So finally, we know where all the discarded computers go. But you know what? That's not the end of the story. There's many concerned people and businesses that recognize the need for better e-waste recycling solutions. Hewlett-Packard, makers of HP products, have announced that they will pick up any computer brand and waive the cost recovery fee. Dell Computers is also offering its customers worldwide no-charge recycling services for out-of-date Dell equipment, even if the customer does not purchase new products. Microsoft has launched a new initiative where it will be working with the United Nations Industrial Development to send millions of computers to Uganda to be reconditioned and loaded with up-to-date Microsoft software and sold at a low cost to individuals and businesses in Africa. Remember, as purchasers, we have an awful lot of power. We demand from our manufacturers and retailers that we want them to take our computers back when we're finished with them. Then eventually, all these businesses are going to do that just to stay in business. The key here is that, of course, recycling e-waste is not the law, but you know what? You can do an awful lot for your environment by making sure that you recycle these when possible. Keep it out of the landfill. It's a good thing to do.